Hi children, how are you all? It's been really long. We haven't met. Actually, we haven't met since a long time. As you can just feel, I have a sore throat and COVID has attacked again. Again, online classes are on, but nothing to worry about because exams are approaching and we all are gearing up for our vivas, our exams, our essay 2s, our finals. So just get on to that. Don't worry much about COVID because even online or offline, you got to study, and that's the mission, that's the goal, that's your aim. Today, I'm taking up this book, and that is The Alien Hand. If you can see, Alien Hand, yes. Again, it's class 7th. It's a supplementary reader. And the story from this, it's a supplementary reader. It has got many stories in it. And the story which I am taking today is An Alien Hand itself, the last story of the book. Why am I taking this story? Okay. The first thing is it's written by my favorite writer, my favorite author, and that's J.Narlikar. J.Narlikar happens to be a scientist by profession, and he has written many beautiful stories. He mostly writes science fiction, and as a child I have read his Dhumketu, then many others in Hindi as well as English, and this Alien Hand is also in class 6th, standard 6th Hindi notebook, or sorry, Hindi textbook called Vasant. And the name of the story is Par Nazar Ke. If you have read that story in Hindi, I think it will be of great help for you to understand this story in English better. But if you haven't read Par Nazar Ke, then it's all right because Alien Hand is extremely simply written story. It's all science fiction. It's not reality. It's not truth. But since Jayant Narlikar is a scientist himself, he has given many situations, or he has given many scientific reasons for things to happen in on Earth or on Mars as well. How the sun is reacting to the atmosphere and the climatic changes sun has reacted, and what was Mars like and what Mars is like right now. I just put a disclaimer here that it is fiction, it is not real, it is not reality, it is not truth, it is just imagination, work of fiction and imagination by Jayant Narlikar. So here I am reading An Alien Hand for you. I hope you're all set with your books in your hands. Alien Hand. If you don't have your books, no issues, you can have your PDFs. I always prefer books. Before you read, a small opening, a small kind of introduction for you. Have you heard of the Viking mission to Mars? Have you ever heard of the Viking mission to Mars? What is Viking mission? Kya hai Viking mission? Viking mission is it's a mission by the United States. It was done a long time back to explore what is there on Mars. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, which we popularly call as NASA, Viking mission to Mars was composed of 2 spacecrafts, Viking 1, Viking 2. One was orbiter, which can orbit, and one is lander, which can just land on a particular planet and observe. So Viking 1 and Viking 2 each consisting of an orbiter and a lander. The primary objective were to obtain pictures, images, samples of the Martian surface and soil and search for any possible signs of life. What was the main issue and what was the main purpose of having this Viking orbiter and lander? Just to go on the planet Mars and see if there is any sign of life, any sign of creativity, any sign of any creatures around, what kind of soil they had, what kind of air they had oxygen or not, and so many things and so many questions are apprehensions are there in the mind when any scientist group go to any other planet. Definitely anybody from India, or sorry, from Earth would like to just see on any other planet across the solar system to check it out if there is any life beyond Earth. And that is what was the mission, or that is what was the goal of Viking. Coming back to the chapter, the primary objectives were to say obtain images and samples of the Martian surface. What is Martian surface? Martian surface is the surface of Mars, of course. So, Viking 1 was launched on 20th August 1975 and arrived at Mars on 19 June 1976. Viking 2 was launched on 9 September 1975 and entered Mars orbit on 7th August 1976. So, these two spacecrafts, Viking 1, Viking 2, they worked as orbiter and lander, and they arrived or they were launched on different dates on different years. Besides taking photographs and collecting other science data on the Martian surface, the two landers conducted three biology experiments to look for possible signs of life. I just told you that what is the purpose, what is the aim of any spacecraft to go to some other planet in the solar system. And that the aim is to look out for life, if there is any life, if there is any possibility, any chances of creating life over there. So that was the purpose here also. As of now, there is no clear evidence of the presence of living microorganisms in the soil near the landing sites. And in this story, in this particular story, it is stated there's a fact also that there is no evidence of any microorganisms. We try to understand any surface by the presence of microorganisms or the microbes, the small microbes or the bacteria or the viruses or the fungus or the protozoas present on that surface if life is there. If there are microorganisms, definitely life is possible. Life can be there. So there were no microorganisms present in the soil near the landing sites. Now about the story. It's just a very interesting story about a small child called Tilu. And the name is also equally cute and interesting, Tilu. Yeah, so the story is about Tilu, how Tilu is living under the surface of Mars, and how he's spending his time, how he's living, and how his father and mother are living with him. And so many restrictions are there for Tilu. Why? Why restrictions? Because his father is a scientist, his father is a research man, and he is living in certain situations where Tilu is prohibited. What is prohibited? Stopped. Is prohibited and stopped to go to a certain area. He can't venture out in all the areas on the surface or on the planet. There are reasons to it. We will see and read in the story. So going further, there are certain lines in red font. Let me see. Tilu and his parents live beneath the surface of a planet under artificial conditions. They are not living in natural conditions. That means Tilu hasn't seen nature. Tilu hasn't seen the stars. Tilu hasn't seen the sun. Tilu hasn't seen the soil. Tilu hasn't seen the moonlight. Tilu hasn't seen anything which is natural. Tilu has heard and read about the sun and the stars. He has never ever seen them. Tilu's father goes to work through a secret passage and Tilu wants to know all about it. That's the story all about, that Tilu is very curious that, what is this my father doing? What is he into? And that is the point of curiosity. That is the anxiety which he has. That, what is dad doing? Just one small suggestion for you guys, that whenever you are listening to a story, specifically a fiction, just keep your imagination antennas erect. Why? Because unless until you imagine it well, it is very difficult for you to absorb it. Stories are like that only. The moment a story starts, you need to just put up your imagination antennas erect, up. Why? Because if you don't imagine, it will just become a documentary or an article which gets boring very soon, very quickly. So you have to understand, imagine that actually there is Tilu. Actually, they are living under the surface, and actually he has never seen nature and he wants to explore what his father is into. So just be very imaginative here. Just be very thoughtful here about Tilu and his life. Coming back to the story here. Tilu, how often have you been told not to go that way? But why does daddy go there every day? Because that's his job, Tilu. Tilu is having a conversation with someone. Tilu किसी से बातें कर रहा है, वो कौन है? We'll get to know. But the conversation is going like that question and answer session where Tilu is very curious that why daddy is going every day to some place and why am I or you not allowed to go to that passage or to that place? And the person who is talking to Tillu is saying that we have told you n number of times, numerous times, please don't go there, don't venture out there, but you don't listen. You just refuse to listen, and you're going there. You want to go there every day. And why daddy goes there? Because that's daddy's job, that's his work, profession. That way was an underground passage. So, what was that way? That way was nothing but an underground passage, somewhat like a tunnel. Just imagine that there is a tunnel under your land, and somebody from your family, like your father or mother or elder person, is going there every day, and you're not allowed to go there. Natural anxiety would be there. Why can't we go? What is there under the earth? What is there under the land? What kind of tunnel is this? Why father just picks up his things and documents and all these things and goes every day, and we can't see it any day? Because if your dad or if your mom is working in an office, definitely you go to the office someday, or you get to meet the colleagues or their friends, or know something about the nature of the job. But here Tilu is completely clueless that what's happening under the surface of the earth. That way was an underground passage. Tilu's father went every day for work along that passage, and every day he came back from that direction. So that was the way which he used to take every day, going there, coming back. But Tilu doesn't know anything about it, and that was the point of disturbance. That was the point of botheration for Tilu. Why can't I go? What lay at the end of that forbidden route? What is forbidden? Forbidden is something which you can't do. Yes, something you're not allowed to do. That is forbidden. So what lay at the end of that forbidden route? Tilu, being a small child, he had a lot of curious questions in his mind. What is there at the end of the road? Not only Tilu, but a great majority of the community would have liked to know. Now, many people who were living under the surface were not allowed to go beyond a point, beyond a certain point. On the surface, they were not allowed to go. And Tilu thought that not only me, there would be many, many people who would be just thinking that, what is happening on the surface, what is happening beyond that tunnel or beyond that forbidden area. Tilu's father was one of the select few permitted to go that way. And Tilu's father was the chosen one in the sense that he was just allowed to go there. His purpose was to work there. So he was permitted to go. He was allowed to go to that way. The above conversation invariably took place between Tilu and his mother whenever he insisted on following his father. This conversation, which I just mentioned, it's on the page 67. It was happening between Tillu and his mother. We can discuss our problems, our complexities more easily with our mothers rather than our fathers. It has happened with me. Now I'm dead close to my father. But when I was a child, I was really scared of him. And even at my house, I see children all around. They are more close to their mothers than their fathers. But later on, things get different. But Tilu is a small child here, and he wants to talk to his mother all the time. And he doesn't have the courage, the grit to talk to his father or ask questions which he feels like asking. So the mother, he has conversation with his mother, and Tilu and his mother, whenever he insisted on following his father. So whenever father used to pack up and go, Tilu always wanted to go behind him or with him and watch what all is happening. But mother used to just resist, and mother used to say, no, you're not allowed, Tilu, you're a small child, and blah, 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 and many other things. Excuses maybe. So today, however, was different. Tilu's father was enjoying a siesta at home, and Tilu managed to get hold of his security card. So what happened? Tilu's father was enjoying a siesta. What is a siesta? Which I feel like taking all the time, but I never ever get. It's a morning, or no, not morning. It's a daytime nap. A small nap, छोटा सा sleep patch, which you all want if you're tired. So Tilu's father, who had a vacay, holiday that day, and he was just, taking a beautiful nap at home, sleeping. And Tilu got hold of his security card. What's the security card? You must have seen many entering cards at the hotels or at the places of your work, your workplace, your professional place, that you have to insert a card in certain bracket, and then the door opens and there you are, and you get the card back. So that is called the security card. And Tilu's father had that security card, which was now with whom? It was now with Tilu. Yes, he had just stolen it. That's bad. He shouldn't have done this. But curiosity was there. But still, we can complain that it's not a good thing. Then, evading his watchful mother's eye, Tillu made his way to the forbidden passage. And evading is just, ignoring, sort of avoiding his watchful mother's eye. Why mother was watchful? Because mother always had this in the back of the mind that Tillu might try to go there. So she's always watchful. She's always very alert, attentive. Tillu made his way to the forbidden passage, and there he started moving. A metal door barred his entry. So when he started, now imagination strong. When he started, the entry, the opening was barred by a metallic door. It was not that metallic door which you feel that it's an old time cast iron door. No, it would have been a steel door maybe. But Tillu had watched his father slip the magic card into a slot. There was a slot, a bracket there, and he had already seen the father slipping the card, the magic card, in the slot. So he did the same. He did the same, and the door opened noiselessly. It was just like magic. Not such a great magic these days. You see all these things happening in the malls and everywhere. But the door opened noiselessly. A well-lit passage seemed to beckon him. There was a passage. It was not dark. It was all illuminated with lights all around, and that beckoned him, means that attracted him. That was very inviting for him, and he was not at all afraid to go because there was a lot of light around. Snatching the card which had come out of another slot in the wall. Now he had inserted the card in the slot. After inserting, the door opened, and then the moment he entered, he could see the card coming out of another slot in the wall. He immediately took it out because he was afraid that it might go forever. Tillu started his march along a gentle upward slope. It was a gentle slope, just like a ramp probably, and he just started walking and moving over there. For the passage led from the underground habitat to the surface of the planet. So now he thought, as he assumed, that from this underground, where he was not allowed to move much, where there is no nature, nothing, no stars, nothing he has seen, he would be looking at the surface of planet. Finally, and it's a great thing if you imagine that you are living in a closed, enclosed area for years, days, or even months. It's very difficult. You have read about stars, you have read about sky, but you read about birds and all, but there's nothing which you have seen. So curiosity is there, desperation is there, and that was happening with Tillu. So now finally he would be able to see the habitat. Habitat is the, or rather, people, creatures, or the life on the surface of the planet. Tillu looked forward to seeing the sun if it was daytime. He had heard of the sun, and he had never seen it. He knew that the sun happens only during daytime. In the night falls and the sun isn't there. Or the stars if it was night, about which he had heard and read so much. He had just heard about the day, he had just heard about the night, he had just heard about the sun, the stars, the moon, the sky, the birds, everything, and he had read about them in books, but he had never ever actually seen any of them. But alas, that wasn't to be. There is a saying in English, there are many slips between the cup and the lips. So that means you are about to reach there, but it breaks. That happened with Tillu. He was about to be there, about to get there, but suddenly something happened. Tillu had underestimated the security arrangements. Tillu never realized that it will be such a secured and protected and technologically protected area. Invisible mechanical devices had already detected and photographed the small intruder. There were so many cameras, there were so many sort of, if you can imagine, CCTVs over there, and so many devices which had actually detected somebody with a different stature, different body language, different height, different physical figure going there, a small intruder. Who can be the small intruder? Tillu himself was a small intruder. Intruder is somebody who intrudes, somebody who gets into a prohibited or unwanted area. Sent his picture to the Central Bureau, where it was thoroughly checked. He was already photographed and his picture was sent to the main super cabin or a supercomputer or a super surveillance department. And before he had advanced 10 paces, a strong hand fell heavily on his shoulder and he was caught. Yes, he was caught. He was not able to see the surface. He was caught before that. He had not even walked 10 steps, and there was a strong hold, a strong hand which just fell on him, on his shoulder. Tack, mister, where are you going? And gently but firmly, he was escorted by the security staff back home to an anxious and angry mother. The security staff got hold of him, thrown back to his home, not so brutally, not so rashly as I'm saying, thrown back. He was just taken back to the home. But the mom was angry, obviously, because safety is important for children, for anybody. It was not very safe to go out. That is why the mother was stopping him all the time. So mother was anxious, curious, very much worried and angry. While he was being scolded, he received help from an expected quarter. So he was being very badly scolded by the mother, and mother saying, just, taking him to task and saying, what the hell, why did you go there, and blah, 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 what not. But somebody helped him. Somebody just, shooed away him from mother's scolding. And who was that? Unexpected quarter. Somebody had never expected help from. Somebody had never expected any kind of cajoling from. Somebody had never expected that kind of affection and warmth and love from. And that was his dad. Yes, father finally came to his escort and said, wait, let me handle. Let me explain to him, darling, said his father, who had just got up from the siesta. He had just woken up and he saw all that is happening around till he's going there. Security guards just, putting him back. And he said, okay, let me explain him. Let's calm down. Let's cool down. It's not a very out of hand kind of situation. If he is properly briefed, he will not do such a thing again. Let us explain. That's the best way to explain. Children is the best way. You scold them, you just, push them, you dominate them, or you just even hit them. Nothing will come into their brains. What will come into their brains if you explain them the details, explain them the pros and cons, explain them the problems and complications of a system. And that is what his father tried to do, that he says that let us explain him what is happening, and he will never try to do that again. And he started to explain. Listen, Tillu, I work on a surface where an ordinary person can survive because the air is too thin to breathe. Yeah, where air is too thin to breathe and where the temperature is so low that you would freeze to death. The father was working in a strange kind of temperature. That means the climatic conditions were not favorable. The air was very thin to breathe. Always oxygen was required, and the temperature was so low that if without proper precautions, without proper that suit which was made for the father and such people who were working over there, they might freeze to death. It was so cold. But daddy, how do you manage to survive? So dad, that's the question. How do you manage to survive if it's such a low temperature, if the air is too thin? How do you survive? Because I go well equipped. I have my all preps. I have my all preparations. I just don't go without any precautions. I'm all, armed and weaponed for that kind of climatic condition. In a special suit with a reservoir of oxygen. I have got a storage of oxygen which is there inbuilt in my suit in which I go. You must have seen people in the spacecrafts. They wear certain kind of suits. If they don't wear such suits when they go there, it is very difficult for them to survive. So same way, Tillu's father, he used to just go in that proper suit which had a reservoir, a storage of oxygen. I can keep warm, and my boots are specially designed to make it easy for me to walk on the surface. So that suit which he's wearing all the time keeps him warm, and he's wearing those specific shoes which help him to walk on the surface very easily. It's a difficult surface to walk probably, and he finds it difficult. So such shoes, such boots are created for him and his team. What's more, I have been trained to survive and work on the surface. He had got a proper training. It's not the cakewalk that just he went and started working in such an environment where the climatic conditions were not favorable. He had been trained. He had been given a rigorous training how to survive over there, how to work on that surface. There was a time when our forefathers lived on the surface quite naturally. And there was a period when, just the way we live on earth, it's alive, natural, air is there, not extreme climate is there. We are surviving, isn't it? We are living nicely. But on Mars also, as Tilu's father told Tilu, there was a point when forefathers, the fathers and grandfathers, they used to live on the surface just like the way we live on Earth. Indeed, they did so for millions of years. For millions of years, there was no disturbance, there was hassle free life, there was no complication. But times changed. And what happened? The very sun, that means the sun which had provided us with sustenance, turned hostile. The sun, which was providing it with solar energy, with all the heat, with all the warmth to combat the extreme cold, turned hostile. That means it changed its way of shining. It's just changed its mood, or you can say it just changed the way it was seeming brighter on Mars. It changed only slightly, but the change was sufficient to upset the balance of nature on this planet. The sun changed slightly. Maybe it got less warm. That is why everything got upset on the planet. We are talking here about Mars. I hope you understand that. We're not talking about Earth. So on Mars, the sun changed its way of shining. The sun changed its heat. The sun changed its warmth. And it just disturbed, or it just bothered or upset the entire ecological environmental balance on the planet. First, the birds became extinct. Extinct is to just vanish, finish off. The birds, they just finished off. We need all the creatures around us. Even the smallest insect is of use to us. Yes, the birds, the fish, the animals, we, creatures, plants, shrubs, herbs, carnivores, herbivores, all of us are important for each other, for that cycle, for that balance. What happens if one of us, be it humans, be it animals, be it lions, be it birds, be it insects, we just diminish, we just extinct, we just vanish? The ecological or environmental balance will just go hayway, it will get disturbed, and then the life will be impossible, life will be difficult. So the birds, they extinct first. The animals followed. The animals also extincted. The fish couldn't bear it anymore either, and this atmosphere changing was not be able to be what was not taken nicely by the fish, and they also vanished completely. We managed to survive only because of our superior technology. And how we survived? We survived because of our technology. The humans only could survive because we had the technology to provide us warmth. But we were forced to live underground under artificial conditions. But we were not able to take that cold atmosphere, cold climate. So we had to just take shelter underneath the surface of the planet in the artificial conditions. Yes, there was nothing natural under the planet because it was all human created. It was all mechanical. It was all technology. Thanks to solar energy, we can generate sufficient power to make our life comfortable. With the use of solar energy, we can generate power. We can just get electricity, we can just get the warmth, we can create our own energy. Yeah, so but the machines which make this possible must always be in good working conditions. The whole life around us under the surface of the planet is controlled, it's managed, it's maintained by the machines. And that is why it is very important for the machines to work properly. If there's a machine failure, if there's a technological failure, definitely life would get hampered, life would get harmed, and that is not advisable. Some of them are on the surface. I belong to the team whose responsibility is to keep watch on them and to service them. Some of them, what is some of them here? Some of the machines probably are on the surface. And what was the job of Tilu's dad, Tilu's father? That he was of the team who was maintaining the machines on the surface. And that is why every day he had to cross that tunnel and go to the surface. And he was heading the team, and whose responsibility was to keep watch on the machines and to service them from time to time for their proper running, for the proper maintenance and all. He was taking care of it. Daddy, can I join the team when I grow up? Now, it was a very cute question by Tilu that he said, Papa, can I join you when I grow up? I also want to become somebody like you. Of course, if you want to, said his father. But for that, you must be a good boy and do as your parents tell you. His mother had, as usual, the last word. So Mama said, okay, yes, you can join. Yes, your dad has given a green signal. Join there. But you should be a good boy and you should never ever try to do something which your parents have forbidden, which your parents have told not to do. So your parents have told you not to go there. So don't go there. Grow up and then join your dad. We are done with the first part, and there is a comprehension check. Let's see we know about it or not. How does Tilu manage to find his way to the forbidden passage? He just goes and he just puts a card, the magic card, in the slot, and he goes there. What did Tilu hope to see once he emerged from his underground home? He hopes to see some of the surface. He hopes to see the sun. He hopes to see the stars. If it's night, day, or night, anything. Why did Tilu's father advise him not to try to reach the surface of the planet? Tilu's father advised him not to try because he needs a certain kind of preparation. He needs a certain kind of precaution, like a suit which has oxygen because the air is thin. Along with that, it's freezing cold, so he needs some kind of warmth which is inbuilt in the suit. And without that, it is very difficult to survive on the surface of that planet. What changes had occurred which forced people to live in the underground homes? The changing is that sun turned hostile. It was a little change in the sun, but it actually upsetted the environment, the entire ecological balance, and that was the major change. Okay, next two more parts. It's a long one which has, yes, it has got one and two more parts. I'll be coming back with the two more parts very soon, probably today itself. So till then, just wait for my next video on the alien hand. Yes, like, share and subscribe. Thank you. Bye-bye.